Hi, welcome to Mat Pilates with Megan. Yesterday we started with glute bridges on the floor. So that is starting with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor, starting with that pelvic tilt, working up through your spine to your glute bridge, and then on the way down, articulating down through your vertebra. So your abdominals are helping you control that movement. You're increasing the circulation in your vertebra, and you're using your major movers are your gluteal muscles. Okay, so today we're going to turn that glute bridge upside down, and you're going to do a little bit of Pilates version of CatCow. So you're sort of used to that angry cat where you're really pressing your upper back toward the ceiling. In Pilates, you want to concentrate more on using your abdominals as the movers, okay? So you're going to press your lower back toward the ceiling on your exhale, and then inhale, release. So you're finding as much movement through your lower back as you can, still increasing the circulation in your vertebra. Okay? So exhale, contracting your abdominals, and then inhale, releasing those abdominals. One more like that. Okay, then we're going to go right to your flexing your foot and stretching that leg behind you so you feel your glutes engage as you're flexing your foot, heel goes straight behind you, and then you're releasing your opposite arm forward. Okay, so your muscle recruitment pattern is important because you always want to have your abdominals engaged. So abs engaged first, and then you're going to change legs. So other leg, flex that foot, reach it straight behind you so you feel your glutes engaged, and then release that opposite arm forward. So your abdominals stay engaged the whole time. Then your glutes as you stretch that leg behind you. Then last of all, you take that releasing the arm. So again, changing legs, alternating sides, abs and glutes get engaged, then you release that arm forward. So you always want to have your abs engaged. You want to get used to that. So as you live your daily life, your abdominals are engaged as you move. So you're always protecting your lower back. Okay? So your largest muscle groups, your glutes are the largest, second largest abdominals. You want these muscles to be working for you. They help you keep your balance, so you always want them to be strong. They protect your lower back, so you want them to be strong. Okay, now, if you don't have a plank, you can keep doing your bird dogs. If you have a plank, you're going to go right to that plank. And then today, if from your plank, if you can, you're going to keep your rib cage and your hips in line, just like yesterday. And you're just going to bend those elbows a little bit on your inhale and exhale. Press. Now, if you can bend your elbows more, by all means, take your chest right down to the floor. If you can't do that, if you can't do what's really called a push-up, we're calling it a plank with bending your elbows, but we know that's a push-up. Okay, so if you need to bring your knees down, just again, keep your abs engaged so your ribs stay in line with your hips, chest goes toward the floor, and then press back up. So even though it's a push-up, which normally people think all the muscles in your shoulder girdle and your triceps, in Pilates, you want to make it about your abdominals. Okay? And then take a little break from that. Hips go back toward your heels like a child pose. And release. If that is not a comfortable stretch for your knees or for your lower back, you can always take your stretch down flat on the floor, and forehead goes onto the backs of your hands. Okay? And now we're going to do another abdominal exercise that we did yesterday. So yesterday we did knee changes like this. So one knee's always staying over your hip bone to stabilize your lower back. And then today, if you want to make it harder, if you do a lot of Pilates and you want to make it harder, you're going to curl up your head and shoulders, and then instead of knee changes, you can do leg changes. And if your neck muscles burn out before your abdominal muscles, you can stay curled up and just cradle your head with one hand or both hands and keep breathing. Okay? And then you can release those muscles. If it feels good to you, you can bring both your knees down to one side. Nice deep inhale, exhale, and back through center. Both your knees down to the other side. Again, if this rotated stretch feels good for your back. Okay, we're going to keep working your abdominals. So yesterday we did single leg raises, pointing your toe as you lower that leg, flexing your foot as you lift it. And then if you want to make this more difficult today, as you lift your leg, you're going to curl up head and shoulders and simply sweep those arms down to your hips. Now, if this bothers your neck or you have neck issues, you don't have to lift or curl up your head and shoulders. If you just need a little assistance on that curl up, feel free to cradle your head as you do that curl up, okay? Then changing sides, so you can start with that single leg lift, and if you want to make it more difficult, as your leg lifts, you can sweep those arms. So your arms come from straight out to the side from your shoulders and just sweep down to your hips. And again, if this bothers your neck, please feel free to cradle your head. You're not pulling on your head, you're simply cradling the weight of your big, heavy head. Okay? And then, if this stretch feels good to you, you can bring your arms around the inside of your calves and pull those heels together, releasing out of your inner thighs. Okay, now you keep releasing the weight of your head into the floor. You're going to take a single leg bend, flex, and straighten point. Okay, so you're using all the muscles in your legs, right from your hip flexor through your toes. That's it. 2 more like that. Okay, then you're going to change legs. It doesn't matter whether you have your leg turned out at your hip socket, the way I do right now, or if you have your leg parallel. Whatever's more comfortable for you. You want to get as much movement as you can. 2 more like that. Okay, then you can either do another set like that, or if you want to make it more difficult, you can bring heels together, toes apart, and bend, flex, straighten point with both those legs. And if you want to get more abdominal work out of this exercise, you can lower those legs, and again, you can curl up your head. And if your neck burns out before your abdominals do, you can cradle that head. 2 more like that. And then bring it in. Okay, you're going to come over onto your side so your hips are stacked right on top of each other. Okay, you're lining up your ankles with your hips. Then your top leg is going to straighten. Keep that leg parallel, lift and lower. Okay, so you'll right away feel this in your abductor, outside of your hip, outside of your thigh, right at your hip. You Want to keep your knee as straight as you can. 2 more like that. Then you're going to bring that top leg forward. Feel your hip flexor engage through center and slightly behind you till you feel your glutes engage. So these exercises that are working your muscles right around your hip, not only good for your hip, good for your knees, good for your ankles, good for your back. So you'll feel your glutes engage as you take that leg slightly behind you, keeping your hips stacked so you're not rolling forward and back as you move that leg. Okay? Then you're going to keep those knees stacked, lining up your ankles with your hips, and you're going to rotate your knee toward the ceiling and then lower it. Okay? You're going to stay in the work zone here, so you're not going to take a rest between reps. We're only doing 8. That's it. So your knee won't get all the way to the ceiling because you're not going to roll back like that. You're going to keep your hips stacked so you're working those muscles right in that hip socket. 2 more like that. Then your top leg is going to come just slightly in front of your lower leg, and you're going to lift that lower leg. So here it's inner thighs working. So you'll feel those adductors, inner thighs, contracting as you lift that leg. It's only coming a few inches off the floor. 2 more like that. Okay, and then other side. So you'll stack your hips, then bend those knees, line up ankles with your hips, top leg straightens, it's slightly in front of you, lift and lower. So that top leg stays parallel as you lift and lower. Again, you're going to keep it in the work zone, keep it moving. Since we're only doing 8 reps, we're really working those muscles. Outer thighs, abductors, and glute med, outside of your glutes. 1 more like that. Okay, then you're going to bend both those knees. Oops, my mistake. You're going to straighten that leg. This is where my class would correct me. Okay, so you're going to stretch that leg a little back till you feel glutes engage. You're going to bring that leg forward till you feel abs and hip flexor engage. I'm missing my 10:30 on Friday group. I'm missing all my groups. Who am I kidding? Okay, you're going to take 2 more like that. Again, keeping it smooth, making sure your leg isn't dropping toward the floor. So as you're moving that leg through center, it's straight down from your hip. Okay, so after your last one, you're going to bend both those knees. Now that top knee is going to open toward the ceiling. And again, you can be all the way down flat on the floor if it feels better for you. Okay, I usually come all the way up because I'm teaching a group usually. And so I always want to see everybody. But you want to be wherever is more comfortable for you. 1 more like that. Then that top leg is going to come just in front of your bottom leg. And now you're going to lift that bottom leg off the floor. Adductors, inner thighs engage. It's a tiny lift and lower as opposed to a swing and a drop. 2 more like that. Okay, now you're going to go down onto your back and you're going to take your figure 4 stretch. So right ankle across left knee. Then you're going to clasp your fingers behind your left thigh, releasing out of your right hip. If just crossing your ankle over your knee feels like a stretch already, you don't have to clasp your fingers. It just deepens the stretch, gets you out of that right hip and your lower back. I usually do these stretches for 30 seconds, but I'm not going to count to 30. because this is not live. Okay, and then go ahead and change sides. Left ankle, and as you bend that right knee, if that's enough of a stretch in your left hip, you can stay there or clasp those fingers, releasing more out of your left hip and your lower back. Okay, now you're going to stack those knees again. You're going to bring both your arms stacked on top of each other at shoulder level. Knees are stacked, hips are stacked. Then your top arm, you're going to open toward the ceiling. You're going to let your head release onto your mat. Your face stays looking toward the ceiling as that top arm opens to the floor behind you. You'll feel a stretch across your chest. Your chest opens toward the ceiling. And then bring it back and take that one more time. If this is too much of a stretch for your pectoral muscles out of your chest, then don't take it all the way to the floor. Only take it to the floor if it feels good. And then bring that arm back, and then you're going to change sides. So both your knees are going to go to the other side, stacking hips. You're going to stack your arms. Then top arm opens toward the ceiling. Your face stays looking toward the ceiling. And bring that arm to the floor. You'll feel what I feel is like a really nice stretch, opening my chest. Again, if this is too much for you, then you don't have to bring that top arm all the way to the floor. Find a range of motion that feels good to you. Very important. Always. You don't want to hurt in Pilates. Okay, and then you're going to come back all the way over onto your belly, and I'm going to show you one more stretch that I hope feels good. Move this back a little bit. Okay, so from down on your belly, you're going to have your arms, palms down to the floor. Okay, face down. You're going to lift, bend your knee, and then you're going to lift from your glutes while pressing down with the palms of your hands. Take that foot over as far as the floor if you can get there, and then bring it back to center. Then other knee bends, lift that knee with your glutes and pressing down with the hand that's on the floor, and bring it over to the other side. And take it back. Do two more each side if it feels good. So lift and cross. Again, only if this feels good to you. Okay, and then you can press through the palms of your hands. Take an extension through your upper back and bring it down. So nice deep inhale here. Tighten into your glutes. Extend through your upper back. So long neck, extending through your upper back. If this feels good to you. Okay, and then if you want to, you can change it to your flow. Hips go back towards your heels. Then whole torso comes forward. Once your shoulders are over your elbows, slowly bring those elbows down to the floor. Extend through your upper back. Glutes stay tight, then lift. And if a child pose feels good to you, your knees can be as far apart as is comfortable for your stretch, and release forward. And take yourself a break.